Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 116 for February 7th, 2024. I am Nemesis, and I am joined by Alcatraz.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a whole new month of 2024. Yeah, we're already that far in. What the heck?
It's weird how sometimes the months seem really short, but also long at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Couple things, including stuff I kind of somewhat brought up last time, which was there was stuff that happened. There's stuff that happened, but I don't remember. I remember it now. What happened was I read about it when I was at my peak fever. So,
oh yeah,
and it's actually all this stuff most of the stuff I'm about to talk about is all interrelated to a degree. I just need to check on a couple other things. No, actually, one thing.
I just remembered one too. I think you're gonna bring it up.
Yeah. One thing, the Laughing Man did the thing.
Oh yeah, that is a day of recording.
Well, technically,
yeah.
in Japan it was yesterday because of time zones. But yeah, that's a thing actually. And if we time things better, we would be talking about Ghost in the Shell right now, but we're not.
But we're not that smart, apparently.
We're not that smart. But a couple other things. One of the things I should have mentioned last time. Love Live Nijigaseki, I think I mentioned that they was getting an anime movie trilogy, but they confirmed the release date for the first movie will be September in Japan. And it'll be this. They also confirmed that this movie trilogy will be the end of Nijigaseki's story, or at least the anime version.
End of Nijigaseki. They all die.
The second thing was they announced there's going to be a Switch visual novel for Nijigaseki.
Interesting.
Which is interesting of itself. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's ever going to be translated, but we'll see. Apparently there's no confirmation yet one way or the other, so I'm a little concerned about that. The other thing is, well, it's not really news, but I finally actually did try the second Yohane game, the deck building one, because they put a demo out on Steam and Switch finally in the US. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm not a huge fan of deck building games and whatnot, and it's simple enough that I don't feel like I'm going to just hate it.
Right. Yeah, those games can get
pretty in depth. And it's simple enough. Like, okay, I get it, and it looks nice. It's I'm a little worried about repetition. It feels a little, but basically the demo was like the first chunk of the game, and it's okay, I get it. It's not too bad. It's it's that you get a random deck at the beginning, and then every turn you get, because it's turn-based RPG essentially, you get a handful of cards, and you have to use those cards, and you only have so much energy, and then you end your turn, and you draw more cards, and
it's standard deck.
Yeah, standard stuff. The interesting thing is the story is Yohane is pulled into a mirror, and she gets basically mirror Numazu, and she it's in the course. Hey, guess what? It's her friends that got their evil now.
Mirror world. Yeah.
Might as well stick mustaches on them. And also, I didn't know about this. Is actually fully 3D.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, someone's going to rip those models pretty soon.
Yeah.
If they haven't already.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty fun. So I actually went ahead and ordered the game because, that was my thing. I was like waiting to see, no.
If you're enjoying it, then might as well.
I ordered the PS5 version, physical version, because that's one of the things I was waiting on. Should I blow my money on the big physical special edition or not?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty fun. And the other thing is also game related. Literally hours after we put our last episode out, they reconfirmed Love Live School Idol Festival 2 will be coming out, the global version will be coming out in February. And in that same tweet, they also then said, oh, by the way, end of life for the end of service will be in May, at the end of May.
Yep. Here's the game. It's going to die.
It's going to die in 2-3 months. You get maximum 4 months.
Yeah.
I can double check. Is that even out yet? Because they said February. It's February now, so I'm going to double check if it's out yet or can pre-register or whatever. Because it's like, what? Hey, it's available. So,
how fast can you get everything in a couple months?
Yeah, the game it's not even been out a year in Japan, so depends.
Yeah, that does not bode well. That is
okay. So there's a whole thing there because you're saying the same thing a lot of people are saying, which without all the information.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, but
Love Live is like the number 8 most popular franchise in Japan still.
right.
So it's still very popular. The problem is the game side, their games division is not doing so hot. It's like I'm not sure how the Yohani game did. That's a whole different thing because it's not a mobile gacha game.
Right.
So there's a couple things at play here. The game division was split between multiple companies. Bandai Namco had a big chunk of, but the big developer was Bushiroad. The two of them, though, are become more and more competitive as of late, as they've kind of separated and gone their own way, and there's kind of rumblings of might be corporate sabotage.
Oh, fun.
As in Bushiroad intentionally made the game bad so that they'd make Love Live look bad, so their stuff will look more appealing. That they actually own and not are just licensed to make. Although that's conspiracy theory territory.
Yeah, it starts getting conspiracy theory, and a lot of those things get made up.
Yeah.
Just to give a juicy explanation.
But regardless,
for something.
Yeah, the game, everything else, like the anime does well, the concerts do well, the music sells well, the merchandise sells well. It's just the games aren't doing well.
Yeah.
And then part of that is because when Love Live first came out, for the School Festival, like over a decade ago, it was like the only one. There was like no competition.
Yep.
And
easy wins.
They kind of got used to that. And so when they did the second one here, which is basically the first one, but with some minor quality of life improvements.
Everyone goes, why should I play this?
Because now at this point, there's a ton of competition and a lot of people have improved on it a lot. And it's like,
put out a version 2 of your game that looks almost like the first version of your game with some slight touch-ups. Never seen that happen elsewhere.
So it's like they weren't willing to put in the effort or the money, so
yep.
No, and apparently I've heard that like I remember hearing that it was way out of whack, like earn rates and how much it cost to buy the in-game currency was obscene and
really going for the cash grab.
Yeah, and like that's the other thing is like apparently I've been told that the revenue for School Idol Festival 2 is lower than the revenue was for All Stars when it shut down, which is part of the reason why they shut down All Stars.
Because it wasn't making enough.
But then again, All Stars also requires them to do 3D modeling and animation and stuff, which they don't have to do for this. So it's kind of one of those, it costs more to run All Stars versus this one.
Yeah,
this is all
you
2D.
don't need the same level of revenue if your expenses are lower.
But it seems like I remember what game was it? I think it was Blue Archive came out and it just was doing miserably bad for a long time before it finally got momentum.
You found its stride.
But it's like they're not even giving. They're like, they're giving us like 4 months, globally 4 months to play it, and they still have the microtransactions on, by the way, for us. So like, they're going to try to convince people to buy stuff in this game that's going to shut down at the end of May.
Bad idea.
And like. Why?
Yeah, it's a huge WTF moment seeing that. It's like, this makes absolutely no sense what they're doing here.
Re-announcing the launch date, the launch, and also announcing the end of service in the same tweet. That's like
especially when they're that close together.
One of the other things I've seen, the most likely plausible explanation is simply contractual obligation.
That's what I was about to say too. It's got to be like they have to release it, which. Yeah, okay, I get that. There's weird legal things they have to go through it. And, I mean, at least you have a release, so the work that any devs did to make the global version...
it's like the company that does the global version had a contract, and it was like, it has to release, otherwise you're in breach of contract.
Yeah, there has to be a deliverable.
So, here it is.
They would have to pay severance and
it would be interesting if they gave it a chance, and the revenue might have gone up if they had given things, the global version,
longer
time rather than just announcing end of service this quickly.
Yeah.
My understanding is actually I think the Japanese version is supposed to end in March. So it's like
yep.
I guess they gave us more than a month.
Yeah. But still
they announced the end of service for the Japanese version before they announced the global version at all. So people were really confused because for a couple hours people were assuming, I guess the global version's canceled then.
Yep. Nope.
But don't worry though. They said there's going to be an offline version, except all it is just so you can view the cards you got. You can't actually play the game, but you can view the cards. Which is a bit better with All Stars, because with All Stars what they did was they're selling a $70 book with all the card art in it instead.
Oh.
Which I was like, no, wait, don't give them
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't give them the satisfaction.
Yep.
So there you go.
I wonder if there's any people working on making like a custom server to try and get it back online. Revival.
So
like
School Idol Festival 2 is not as well liked.
Yeah, but maybe for the first one.
I know for the first two, you kind of have to know who to talk to.
Okay, yeah, because that's usually how those go.
It's out there. You just got to know where to find and who to talk to.
Yeah, and also making that work requires a little bit of technical know-how because you're going to have to do like
but
weird
apparently
DNS redirections.
Someone has a private server running for the games.
Almost any popular online one is going to have something
I'm just saying
like
they have it, but they're not spreading around because they don't want to get shut down.
Legal action.
So I just still have to poke around, see if I can get my hands on that, because I kind of want to at least look at the All-Star stuff, even if it's not a particularly good game.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're obligated by your love Live. You have to at least look at it.
Yeah, that was the thing. Of course,
don't
a lot
get
of people,
sucked into the microtransactions.
Part of the thing about when that tweet went out was just simply the just people dunking on it because it's the most absurd thing.
It is so absurd. I mean, if one thing, everyone knows the game's coming out at least.
Yeah, just the utter absurdity of here's the release date and the end date.
Yeah,
but and of course the common joke of, hey, if we all become school idols, we could save School Idol Festival too.
Maybe if we dump a bunch of money to the microtransactions, they'll push the end date out further and further.
Yeah, don't
do that, please. Don't do that.
Someone's going to try to speed run the game.
Yeah, there's whales. Whales are going to dump into it regardless, but don't let this don't make this become a regular thing.
Yeah. I'm going to play it, but yeah, I'm just
don't touch the microtransactions.
Yeah, I didn't do the first 2 games. Yeah, I never touched the microtransactions for the first 2 games, but yeah, it's just wild. He's going from one of the most successful, 10-year-long mobile gacha games to one that didn't even last a year.
Yep.
They screwed up. And they really need to go back to the drawing board and really go, you can't just go this low, just re-release the old game again. You're going to actually have to put effort in to make it appealing to people again, because now there's a lot of competition, and even the competitions have struggling. Even stuff that's doing well is struggling.
Yep.
Because there's too much competition now. So anyway.
You actually have to make a good game.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on from that, because that was a pretty long.
That was a pretty long discussion.
There's a lot to go through just because of all the stuff around it. We actually watched 4 anime because it's the new season. It's the winter 2024 season. We watched 4 new anime. Picked at random. 3 of them picked at random. 1 chosen. The first 3 episodes, as usual. And there you go, I guess.
We're going to talk about it as much as we can.
The things that were picked for us by the RNG, which has betrayed us yet again. As
RNG gods looked upon us with disdain.
Yeah, RNG has decided we are not worthy today. Anyway, yeah, so the first one we drew is Ishura. That's what it's called.
Ishura.
It's on Hulu. Ishura. So, it is a fantasy thing, and also... it's also isekai, although so far the isekai part is it's incidental at this point.
Yeah.
There was a character in the first episode who's isekai'd. I think it's Sojiro Yagu or something. I'm going to barely get any of the names right because, there's a... Sojiro, yeah.
Oh,
but there's a whole thing where it's the Demon King has died. Okay, so now there's people who want to be the new Demon King or trying to claim they're the Demon King, and okay, but the thing is, it opens up with some girl, who just kind of, she befriends another girl, Lucellus, who, with vague implications of potential romance between them, and then they're talking about this, there's a labyrinth under the city, and all this stuff with the city, which you see is kind of in not the greatest shape.
And then
And then the city rises up, because it turns out the labyrinth is actually a giant robot, and a whole bunch of little robots come of it, and one of them grabs Lucellus there, and just, rips her limb from limb, and then pummels her. Just add insult to injury because, that's super efficient. That means the robots are programmed to cause as much pain as possible. Fun. So yeah, that's what we open with in the first few minutes. Then Sojiro shows up and with his sword and just beats this giant robot. And he's kind of weird in that he's more obsessed with food and fun than anything else. And he doesn't really seem to care about, doing right. He just
I just want to fight things and kill them.
That's fun. And yeah, that's our introduction.
And apparently he's from the other world.
Yeah,
or whatever
they talked about it because there's also a thing called word arts, but people from the other world can't use it. And there's basically word arts is magic. You just have to speak something, and then it makes things happen. That was the first episode. Then the second episode focused on something else entirely. It's the Wyvern.
Oh,
and whatnot. The Alice the Star Runner.
Yeah. Well, was that the second or the third?
That was the second one. I know.
Yeah.
I watched it yesterday again because I had to, and I'll get to that.
Yeah.
But then the second one has also the Harghent, the guy who like apparently they're friends, but also Harghent also hunted wyverns, and there's
also different, like there's a whole thing like wyverns, the wild ones, but then one of the kingdoms had one that was smarter.
That pops up in the second and third episode.
Yeah, it crosses between the two, and it starts getting into the geopolitics of the world.
And there's like Vikion is the dragon, and the wyvern beats the dragon. Also, this particular wyvern has 3 arms because the
giant. Yeah, and then Alice is the blue, really smart wyvern that's different than the rest.
And then you got Taran, who is basically declaring herself the next Demon King. That's a thing. We got that she's the one in charge of the city, which is like kind of broken off and declaring themselves independent, and like she has a guy, Dakai the Magpie, who's like a thief swordsman guy who's kind of a jerk guy. Yeah, he got cut up a bunch of bandits or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting. They're going to get a lot of, I don't know. Regnagy is the other wyvern who's in charge of those the tamed ones, I guess.
Yeah, he's like the military one. Yeah.
And that's the first 3 episodes. We meet 4 of the special heroes because there's a whole thing, like a whole bunch of the special people.
Yeah, they're like bringing them together for something or
another. And yeah, this thing sucks. I'm gonna be honest. It's just I hate it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Should I go?
Go.
Okay.
I've been talking for a lot.
Yeah. This one. Woof. I'm gonna start off saying I'm not enthralled by this one. So it's also really weird because the world. I think I've said it before. I'm really into lore and world building. And this story seems to have like a lot of potential for really cool, in-depth and wide lore and world building. And yet I hate everything almost everything that's shown up so far because nothing seems cohesive. It's just this mess of rather tropey things all thrown into a pot.
Yeah,
is the way it feels like. Because a lot of the characters and things that are happening just seem like your generic tropes for fantasy and all just thrown in there. And it doesn't feel like it's meshing well, and none of the individual parts that could be interesting lore, I think maybe with one exception, just don't feel interesting. Yep. So it's not grabbing me, even though it should have, and it's just not. I think the only exception that I think the blue wyvern Alice is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But that's it, and it's not enough to redeem it. It's just. Oh, and the first special person that's just Sojiru. Oh God, I hate him
I hate him
much.
Actually, Alice is the least offensive in my eyes, but
he's kind of interesting.
I don't like Dakai. What if Regnagy is just kind of, I don't care.
Regnagy. Yeah. Red wyvern leader instead of blue.
Red and blue.
Yeah.
Blue and red.
I mean, there's some interesting things about that because, like, the potential.
He's got the blind lady, the blind Kurte.
Yeah.
She's blind, and they have a weird friendship. I'm not sure she knows he even knows he's a wyvern because he won't let her touch him.
Yeah, it may be some. I was catching that one, but I don't know.
But my big thing about this is it's weird because, like, simultaneously, a ton of stuff happens, and yet it feels like nothing's happening.
Exactly.
Like, they are throwing all sorts of, like, special weapons and lore and names and all this stuff. They're throwing them at you, and it's like...
They're putting them all on the table, but there's nothing to them.
There's nothing here, though. You're just hoping people don't notice you have nothing.
It's a whole bunch of flash. On top of that,
it just...
All flash, no substance.
It feels like... It's like a large chunk of this anime, it's dark and edgy, and it's clear it's like all dark and edgy, and then once you move past that, there's like nothing there.
There's no meat.
This is the pizza cutter. There might be later,
but
this is the pizza cutter. It's all edge, no point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one thing. We're only 3 episodes in. They have room to bring something out of it, but you didn't do it in the first 3 episodes, and you just left a really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, and also there's a skeleton guy.
Also, there's
he
a skeleton
seemed kind of
cool.
He seemed kind of cool, but we don't get to know much about him. But
yeah, not in the first 3 episodes.
He's in the OP, so I guess he's important.
Yeah, but with how much stuff they're throwing at you all at once, the pacing is just not good. It's just too much surface level stuff all at once. They needed to spread that out more. And
it's
give
like,
me some
bro, it's
meat.
not that deep.
Yeah.
And I just know there's going to be some 12, 13-year-old who's going to watch and go, oh my God, it's so amazing because it's dark, edgy. And then they're going to talk about it's going to be something with a favorite anime. And then 10 years from now, they're going to watch it and go,
why did I like it's like Death Note.
Yeah. Although Death Note actually has better more. Than this. Death Note has a lot more depth, I would say. Just at the end, one of those things I read up on it, apparently a lot of people think the anime really failed the manga. So
yeah, well, which is not uncommon. It's not uncommon for that. But yeah, it's still, God.
And it was so bad that I actually just stopped paying attention. That's like I said, I rewatched it because I had to. I literally stopped paying attention. Yeah. While we were watching it, I mentally just checked out like partway through episode 2. Came back for episode 3 because I think I had to turn on the do something, and then was gone again. And I was like, I had to rewatch half those like chunks of those episodes because like I didn't catch any of it. I was so uninterested. This is the worst I've ever been with any of these. Like most of them, at least, even if I'm not that interested, at least I have something. And this one, I was just so uninterested. I just literally stopped paying attention.
Also, they did one really bad thing right in the beginning, with Yuno and her friend.
Mm-hmm.
They almost did a bury our gaze there. It's like, those two might have a relationship. Gotta kill one. And they did it for shock value. I know they did. That was totally just shock value.
Yeah, it was.
It's cheap shock value. That's what this all feels. It's just cheap, flashy shock value just to try and get people to see it and look at it. But there's just no.
Yeah, okay. So I think we're done.
Yeah.
It's crap.
Let's move on. Because
not even as a curiosity. Don't even touch this thing.
God.
Next one we have is the strongest tanks Labyrinth raids, or
oh boy,
here we go, light novel.
It's a light novel.
Saikyo tank no Meikyo Koraku Taruko 999 no rare skill Mochi tank Yusha party wo Suiho Sareru.
Yeah. Japanese light novels.
Light novel. So it's again fantasy, no isekai this time, but
thankfully.
Still high fantasy. The guy, the main guy here, Rude actually, Rude. Which is kind of funny.
Wow, Rude.
He is a tank, like the common RPG thing. He's the tank. He, takes the damage. Healer heals him so that the DPS guy can actually kill the monster. He just, he draws Aggro and all that stuff. That's his role. And he's doing this because he's doing this dungeon crawling with his party, in part because there's a whole thing about legend about a mythical
the Dragon Balls.
MacGuffin dragon thing, which
Dragon Ball.
If you can wish on it and it'll work against your wish, and he's doing it because his sister is really sick.
With of course, very common.
Mysterious anime disease.
Yep.
Anyway, he's doing that thing. He gets kicked out of the party by the leader of the party, who's a hero, because he's holding them back. Yep. So he leaves the party and he winds up joining another party and helping them out and a little bit. And then in doing so, he meets a homunculus. And it turns out this homunculus, it's kind of a little concerning because it's like, that just seems like slavery with an extra step.
Yep. Yep. They're not human, though.
Yeah. But anyway, homunculus named Luna, and she turns out there's a whole thing where there's a skill set where you can figure out people's abilities. And because he had 2, he had no idea what they were, and they found out what they were. And it turns out, that's the reason why his party is the way it was, because apparently he can kind of give party the buffs, essentially.
Yeah, so it's like it follows a lot of video game RPG tropes that so many fantasy animes do and whatnot. Yeah, it's like he takes his party members' damage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when everyone's like, why is your shield getting so low so quickly? You suck. And that's why he got kicked. It's because he was taking all of their damage.
Yeah.
But he didn't know he was.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Also, he's got a super strong shield for no reason. He's got a really nice shield. Don't know where it came from. It just has one. Okay, sure, I guess. Anyway, after he gets kicked out of the party, he winds up going back home and with the homunculus. And then we meet his sister. He meets his childhood friend. And wow, that's a lot of girls.
It's a lot of girls.
That's a lot of girls. Also, his party was, other than the hero guy, was also mostly girls, including one who makes it blatantly clear, I want to be with you, please. That's the whole thing. Her whole thing. It's pretty clear, but he keeps just like waving it off as her joking because, yeah, of course.
Well, he also, yes, the other problem.
Yeah, so
the other one.
There's a whole thing which is like also the homunculus apparently was illegally created because she also has abilities and whatnot. She can do things that other homunculus can't, like she can think for herself.
Yeah, because apparently homunculuses are artificial beings. These are artificial humanoids created for just labor.
Yeah,
basically robots.
Yeah, and she has a jewel in her chest because that's what homunculus have. And
yeah,
they're hiding it from everyone because, and then his sister, Manasia. She, of course, the incurable disease, but, of course, it means she occasionally coughs a bit.
Right.
Again, we don't know what it is, but it's like she has scurvy. Just give her an orange.
Coughs it. Well, yeah. See, some days she's fine, has a slight cough, and other days she's bedridden. Yeah, that's how it works.
Because it's mysterious anime disease. What is it? I don't know.
But it's incurable.
Because eventually we're going to probably see, oh, look, she's going to cough in her hand. Oh, look, there's blood this time.
Hey, yep.
Because it's getting worse.
Yep. That's the trope.
In his party, originally, there's Lily and Lilia, the twins.
The twins.
Who was it? Nin, the other girl, who was, I believe, the healer.
It's the one who's interested in Rude.
Oh, yeah, the other thing was, the party guy, the hero guy was Kai Glesner. He's kind of because it turns out he's kind of a loser. Mal is looking like, oh, he might become a villain now because he's all, his ego's bruised. So, is some of the friends from his hometown, Milena, Philae. They're both childhood friends. And because he's getting surrounded by girls. I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, I'm just like worried because are we getting into some harem nonsense with a side of Siscon nonsense?
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that one yet, but that's a thing.
Because him and his sister, they seem to love each other a little too much.
He really, really likes his sister.
And the thing is, his sister seems to really like him, and it's like, I've been down this road before. It's not a fun one. Nothing's happened yet.
Nothing's happened.
It hasn't gone super full like harem-y weirdness yet, but the fact it's one guy surrounded by a bunch of girls
building that direction.
Several of them have already expressed a degree of interest in him, and there's a whole thing. It intermixes that with the classic underdog story of like, oh, he's just a tank, but they already mentioned he's going to be the big hero eventually because they did that thing. So it's like, okay, it's
yep.
So like,
I'm not interested in it at all. It feels kind of generic and
it's like not outright bad, but there's a lot of just whatever about it.
Yeah, it's either
a couple red flags.
I'm worried about the harem and Siscon stuff, and everything else I just find kind of boring and generic. Yeah. I'm not all that interested.
Yeah, it's just kind of whatever. I might poke my head in one more time,
see if it got better, but I'm not interested.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. So far, it's just like not particularly great, and it's just
yeah.
It just feels like another generic fantasy thing.
Yep, and it just sticks to most tropes.
A bunch of those.
Yep,
and there's really not much else to say about it. The characters are fine. Like design wise, they're fine.
It's fine. That's where it is. It's fine, but some potential red flags and kind of generic.
Yeah.
I'm not all that interested.
I might just kind of give it one more episode just to see if it gets better, or oh hey, are we just going to go full all in on the weird stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I keep forgetting to do this with these. The studio for Ishura was Passione. I don't know. Let's see. I remember that. I've seen that logo before. High School DxD, Citrus, Wasteful Days.
Right.
Higurashi, Interspecies Reviewers, Meiruko-chan. Okay, Yuri's My Job.
It's a big one.
Yuri's My Job I like that.
Yeah. Well, they have a
yeah. But that was Ashura. Tank here. I'm just gonna call it Tank.
Yeah.
This was, where is it?
Studio Polon.
This
is their only thing that I'm seeing listed.
Oh wow, really? Dang.
Yeah, at least on any list.
Studio
Polon.
Be a new studio.
And that's all they have listed is this. This might be their first one.
Yeah. That's what it looks like. Wow, okay. So anyway, yeah, it's forgettable. So not really worth. I don't think it's worth checking out. Yeah, again, that was the whole thing we were talking about. The RNG portrayed us. Yeah, we got something just awful and something generic, and now we get Tales of Wedding Rings.
Which
was not actually on the list initially, but we had to swap out because it turns out the one we drew is not actually available in the U.S. legally. Oh, okay, because we want to give people at least a chance without having to resort to piracy or anything. Swapped it out. So we got Tales of Wedding Rings, which is also isekai fantasy. More blatantly isekai, but it starts off with Sato, who's a human who one day as a boy, a beam of light appears and a girl and an old guy pop out.
Yep.
And then he kind of forgets about this because magic stuff affects his memory. Magic affected his memory because that's
Possibly,
what it seemed like.
Yeah.
Anyway, said girl wound up growing up as his next door neighbor, best friend, childhood friend. And,
girl next door.
Eventually,
yeah.
Girl he's in love with, she's Nokana Hime. He may know. And yeah, it turns out actually her name is, eventually as she discovers as they're graduating high school, she's going back home because she has to get married. And when she says she's going back home, she means leaving this world entirely.
Yep.
And he decides to go ahead and follow her because they just leave the portal open because, I don't know. I don't know if it doesn't occur to them or someone was hoping that he'd follow, whatever.
Or maybe it just takes
or something. Anyway, he follows her and turns out, she's a princess, Princess Crystal, who, she was going home to get married, and instead, when he shows up, she decides to marry him instead because he's familiar, she says. Then turns out that's the whole thing was because she has a special ring. See, gives this guy power, and now he's got this power, and he's going to become the Ring King. And the thing is, also we find out, the two of them actually, she does have feelings for him, and he has feelings for her. So there we go.
That was
knocked. That's right? Nice. That's nice and knocked out of the way. No weird nonsense there. That's good. Then the other shoe drops. There are 4 other rings, all belonging to 4 other princesses, and he has to marry all five of these princesses to get the full power of the Ring King
to defeat the big bad.
To defeat the big bad. And also, by the way, it's vaguely implied that getting romantic and physical boosts your power even further. Although, by the way, we saw titties. We saw those all right.
We're just gonna throw those out there.
Yeah, those are out. It's a horny anime.
It's
abashedly so. Now, before, I'll be honest, I feel like we've gotten a little sex negative a couple times in this podcast, and I kind of want to change that. Here's the thing: it's nothing bad with being horny. Nothing things I said, but particularly since these characters are clearly at least adults or close enough to adults, that doesn't really functionally matter because they're high school graduates.
Yeah, the high school graduates. So we're talking 17, 18.
Who cares really? At that point, for me, most of my objection comes from why are we ogling the 14-year-old? Right. That's my objections usually come from. So I don't care if it's horny necessarily, but again, once you get past the horny, there's really not much there.
I think
there's a bit there, but it's
there's
not a whole lot.
Yeah. So
it definitely has more substance in the first 2, which is something weird to say.
It also has more cohesiveness, which is funny because really, I look at this, I'm seeing that it does have potential lore, but I'm also seeing that with the amount of fan service and things like that they're doing, and they wanted to make an ecchi.
Yep.
They want to make an ecchi, and the lore is there to promote the story service the ecchi.
Which, fair enough.
I mean, that's fine, but it's also
at least it's cohesive.
You wanted to make an ecchi and couldn't. It's like,
they did actually. This is what it is.
Yeah, it's no interspecies reviewers, but which that caused discourse.
Yeah, because it was an accident essentially for Funimation.
They didn't know what they were getting involved in.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing. I mean they even bring it up like the old guy who I briefly talked about. He's like a sage or whatever for the royal court, and he basically just says outright the stuff, which is basically you're here because you're horny.
Yep.
He just makes the joke. He's the one who's encouraging, and he's the one who's aren't you happy? Look, you get to have 5 hot wives. Aren't you happy about that? And he has a bit of objection because him and Crystal actually love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not totally. He's not
neither of them are really on board with this.
He's not totally on board. She seems to be uncomfortable with it. He's not comfortable with it because this idea and but she's also it's your duty. You have to. But she's clearly not happy about it. But Then he meets the second girl who's an elf named Nefertis. It's kind of funny because that one is they go to the elf thing, which is protected by this literal whirlwind.
Yeah.
And like turns out it's because the parents did that, and like her brother's super overprotective, and she's a ripe young age of 54.
Yeah.
Because elves.
Although
that's the thing, the way they frame it, it's like I don't know if that's the elves literally think 54 is a little young, or if it's the overprotective brother, being kind of like the whole she's not allowed to date till she's 30 type of thing. That a lot of parents
right. It could be
either he's just being overprotective,
of both, possibly,
or they genuinely think that's a little young for her to be going out and getting married.
Yeah.
In which way she's super, because she's been so sheltered. The idea just of kissing freaks her out.
Yep.
She ran away and hid when she's like, "Did you two kiss?" Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, then shenanigans because she's naked in front of him because
Yep.
And of course, the brother's trying very much to stop all this. So it's like because he's so super overprotective, and it's actually kind of funny sometimes. I'll be honest.
Hopefully, it's just overprotective.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of funny.
Hints of it.
I was actually say this action one's actually kind of funny sometimes.
It is. But the thing
old
is,
guy himself, like the old guy, is actually kind of funny just because like he's just so overt about it.
My thing is like it is funny, and I will agree it is funny, but also it's like, is it intentionally funny?
Yeah,
because sometimes like this is hilarious.
The thing is also like there's 3 other girls we haven't seen yet as of episode 3, but they are very much in the OP and ED. Oh boy, yeah, that's one of the things. Just remind you because the ED is just panning shots of them in lingerie.
Yep, that's all it is, and it's like you know exactly what this is for.
Yeah, and also one of the bad guys who showed up also sounds feminine, so I'm like, uh-oh.
You're going to find a hidden 6th ring.
Or something, or it's going to be how do you actually defeat the bad guy? Not through combat.
You have to woo the bad guy.
Put me in, coach, I'm ready. But yeah, of course, the 5 rings are also light, fire, wind, water, earth.
Yep.
Just change light to heart, and well, you got Captain Planet. I mean, literally, with the rings and everything.
With the rings and everything.
We got a horny Captain Planet.
That's a mental picture for everyone.
I'm pretty sure the internet has that somewhere. If you want to look.
I do not doubt. I do not doubt there's a horny Captain Planet. Not the way I expected this to go, but here we are. So yeah, Sato's the Ring King now, and he has to fight, and he's fought before. We see like the first time he fought, he got weakened pretty quickly. The second time he fought, he was a little stronger, but after like he kissed his wife. Yep. Get a kiss from your wife to make
there was
you
a funny bit where the two of them are like lying, sitting there going, well, I guess it's time. Yep, sure is time. On the bed and everything. Then they both go, I'm not ready. Are you ready? Oh, no, thank God you're not. They're both so relieved that okay, we're both not ready yet.
Yeah. So that is an interesting way, etchy like.
Also,
but it doesn't actually like stuff like that where it kind of plays with that, and they don't do it.
Yeah. And
so
also,
that's
there is moments of sweetness between Sato and Crystal, honestly.
Yeah, there is. So it's not all.
So I am weird about that. I'm kind of got mixed feelings about this one,
Yeah.
It's like part of you actually kind of wants to keep looking at this because actually beyond the horny, there's actually some decent stuff there, but
maybe
it's also really horny.
It's also like that's what you're in for.
Like,
I mean,
I know
it's
that's
not hiding it
I
from
don't
you.
mind it per se, but like I don't know. This is one of those things. Definitely don't watch it in front of people, your parents,
unless they're in. I mean,
some people still be weird though.
It would be weird, but some people have a kind of relationship with their parents where that's not that weird. I mean, I won't judge you out loud.
Yeah, it's just
it's an odd one to pin because
it's actually has some interesting stuff going on. The characters themselves are actually kind of interesting. Crystal, I feel, is a little underdeveloped at this point, but well, in character, definitely not in physically. Jeez, they make sure to remind you of that a lot.
She's quite well developed in those areas.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is kind of it's that weird thing of like there is going to be a lot of cheap just sex stuff too, but it knows what it is. It's not trying to hide it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And again, it's weird. It's like it's not super creepy about it either, for the most part. I feel it's not
other than like maybe the OP, but even that's not that bad.
It's not the ED's the more worst of the two. But it's just I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one really.
It's a hard one to pin.
Yeah, I don't know. I may watch it, but it's like I'm reading for the articles. I'm watching it for the lore, I swear.
Watch it for the plot.
So, I don't know.
Yep.
It's horny. It's unabashedly so, but also there's actually some substance beyond the horny. Not a whole lot, mind you, but more than the first two we watched, which is weird to say.
Yep.
You'd think the other two would have something more, but they really didn't, versus this one actually has something, but in service of being horny. So I was like, huh.
Yeah. If you're fine with that, you know what you're getting into. It's not going to hide it from you, and it might be somewhat interesting.
So there you go. So we'll go ahead and move to the fourth and final one. The one now is we kind of narrowed it down to two things. The thing was the other one was Delicious in Dungeon or Dungeon Meshi.
Yeah.
But then I was like, that's a fourth fantasy thing. Do we really want to do a fourth one, even if it's Studio Trigger?
It's Studio Trigger, and it's pretty popular right now too.
So it's like, but that's another fantasy.
Another fantasy.
We got 3 of those. We were supposed to get a slice of life, but that was not available.
Yeah.
So we picked Metallic Rouge. Because it's cyberpunk, and thank goodness that's not fantasy.
Nope.
So anyway, Metallic Rouge, it takes place on Mars. Mars has been terraformed, apparently. So you got Rouge, Red Star, who's, secretly she's a robot. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. Anyway, actually, Neon is what the Neon. That's what they're called. They're androids.
Yeah,
Neon. They're androids, essentially, and... Yeah, you can probably Cyberpunk, Android. Yeah, there's a lot of Blade Runner here.
Yeah, it's obvious heavy influence by Blade Runner.
Anyway, she works with Naomi Orthman, and they're trying to hunt down and kill the Immortal 9, who are a group of 9 androids who seem to kind of live forever, apparently, for some reason. And they can change their forms, and they're hunting them down. And yeah, it's that sort of thing, hunting down replicants. And
yep.
Yeah, but there is no ambiguity. Rouge is an android. Although the thing is, most androids have these glowing scar things.
Yep.
And she doesn't. And the thing also, the androids need a thing called nectar, which is basically robot drugs. They need the nectar to survive. If they don't get a daily dose, they die. Humans can use the nectar to get high as hell, apparently. And so sometimes, we see this pretty nasty thing where someone steals nectar from an android, and then he's begging them to give it back to him because he needs it, and then he dies, and it's one of those things that kind of show pretty quickly the plight of the android, because he's unceremoniously scooped up and put in a garbage truck, essentially.
Yep.
So Rouge can transform into this red gladiator thing, which is kind of this weird Kamen Rider-esque suit.
Yep.
Looking thing, and she uses that to fight the Immortal 9. There's an investigator who shows up who's looking at, kind of trying to figure out this because particularly the gladiators killed a bunch of people because they're still trying to put the download on. They don't know what's today. Oh, by the way, the people were killed were androids.
Right.
Secret androids. That'd be bad. Also, they just kind of casually just dropped, oh yeah, humanity fought some aliens and won.
Yeah.
Just casually. The usurpers.
Yeah, the usurpers, and that was the point.
Second race of aliens we met, by the way.
Yeah. Because there's what do they call the first group?
I don't remember now, but there's nice aliens.
Yeah, some nice aliens showed up, and then some not bad nice aliens showed up, and that's where the Neons were originally as soldiers to fight.
Yep. And some of those are still around.
Yep.
Yes, there was a doctor who helps the Dr. Offdal who works helps the Neons and yeah, they have the third episode really goes in on, if you haven't figured out yet, oh yeah, look, the Neons are living in slums, separated from all humans, and they barely have rights, and also it kind of sucks to be them, and a lot of them have all sorts of bad things going on for them, and just sucks for them, and some of them are trying, the Council of Free Neons who are trying to, get more rights for Neons. Because basically they build a bunch of machines who are fully aware, but also super limited because of Asimov code.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Basically, they know they are second-class citizens, and there's nothing they can do about it. That's got to be a hell of some sort right there.
That's probably one of the main plot points.
Yep. Hey, guess what? Yeah, Neons are treated like crap. Maybe we shouldn't do that. But yeah, it's there's one of the things they bring up is they're trying to terraform Venus, and they're just throwing Neons on it left and right. Humans can't survive, so just keep throwing the Neons on it. We'll eventually get there.
Yep.
So it's messed up. And that's the kind of the point. You're supposed to feel bad for them. Feel bad for the robots. It's like if Detroit was written by a good writer.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Because Detroit is also plays blatant homage to Blade Runner, except badly.
Yeah. So one of the other things is we say it plays a lot of homage to Blade Runner, but the other one that it plays a lot of homage to as well that you haven't said yet, other than the thing that they've also said, the Asimov code.
Mm-hmm.
It's iRobot.
Yeah.
It's just straight up iRobot. Well, it's not straight up iRobot, but
not
it's
the movie, guys, by the way, the book.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of a mix of both, but also that one's weird because I've read the book, I've watched the movie. But yeah, they directly reference Asimov code, which is what we would say is the Asimov laws, the three laws of robotics. And the funny thing is that they start mentioning, I think they even mentioned Asimov code in episode 1, but it took till the third episode to actually say what they are. They finally did, and it's the first, you cannot harm a human being. That they simplify it a little bit. They don't specify the second half of the first law. A robot cannot harm a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Right. Rule 2 is they must obey all orders given by a human being. Rule 3 is they cannot destroy themselves. Right. Basically. Different words, but yeah, they can't do something that would result in their own destruction. Of course,
rule 2 is, unless it violates rule 1.
Yeah, and they're ranked in order.
Yeah.
So rule 1, if they have to, like if they see a human that's about to get hit by a truck, they will jump in front of it and destroy themselves to save the human.
Exactly.
They can do that. Or vice versa. Or a human telling a robot to kill another human, the robot can't do it. Yep. Rule 2 is degraded because it would violate Rule 1.
Rule 2 superseded by Rule 1.
Yeah. iRobot is interesting. I'm wondering how much more they're going to lean on this because iRobot is a collection of short stories that basically goes through what happens when you modify those laws. It's an entire series of like the Venus thing reminds me of one of the short stories in iRobot. They were working on some sort of asteroid or planet where they had to modify the first law. Right. They changed the first law because there was a type of radiation that they were working in. Thing is, the radiation technically harms the humans, but barely.
Yeah.
But it instantly kills the androids because it messes up their positronic brain. So what they were dealing with was that a human would walk into the area where the radiation is, a robot would see that, immediately rush in to quote-unquote save the human, and instantly die. So they had to modify the second half of the first rule to not kill the robots all the time. And then there's a whole dealing of what that meant because a human got pissed off at a robot and gave him a command to hide and was then using that and letting humans die to hide to follow the second rule. So I'm wondering, now that we're throwing robots in, if we're going to start touching that one. But they also, later on, the team, the robots in the city, in this story, one of the big points that they bring up in the third one is they're looking for Rouge so that she can do things they can't.
It's clear Rouge,
she doesn't have the laws.
Yeah, just like apparently the Mortal 9 probably don't either.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Because they're built different. That's one of the things is those Immortal 9 are built without the laws, and that's why they're also illegal because they're not supposed to do that anymore.
Yeah. Another thing, it's interesting. Yeah, but the relationship between Rouge and Naomi is interesting because that's like, we have the like Naomi. That one scene that really sticks out is the one with Naomi gives Rouge an order, and then Rouge literally just like barks at her because good doggy.
Yeah,
it growls and barks at her.
Yep,
and like stuff like that, or Rouge's weird affinity for chocolate.
Yep, she likes her chocolate.
Yep. And also there's also thing like Naomi having a little robotic bird she uses to spy on things and whatnot. Also they had an argument. That was one thing that the third episode they had an argument about some stuff. And Rouge went off and did things anyway without backup, and now Naomi's following her. But yeah, there's a whole thing with the carnival too.
Yeah, they mentioned the carnival special, but they haven't said why.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened yet. Yeah. But it's there.
I think also right now it's like, almost looks like they're trying to frame Rouge for murdering another android, I guess.
Yep.
Because, yeah, she has to meet him. Oh, he's dead. This one is weird because one of the part of the council free neons and it's like also his whole thing. He's supposed to be act like a child. He's been through 23 parents. That's a parent's like, wow.
Yeah,
that's kind of depressing, actually.
Oh, it's almost like that one from Detroit. that one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, he was made as basically a surrogate kid for parents that either couldn't or lost.
Yeah. Anyway, there's also something they mentioned, Alethea, which is like, who's that? Is that a person or is that an organization?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it was mentioned, but I'm like,
Yeah, there's some cool stuff, and they keep referencing like the old war weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Old war weapons sometimes getting reactivated.
Rouge had to fight one.
Yeah,
because they're like, that was funny. The old lady who's like, "Oh, I used to drive one of these."
It was so cool.
Get out of the way! I used to drive one of these. Don't you know who I was?
Yep. Old lady was great.
Yeah. That's fun, meeting some kid, the kids on there and kind of helping them, kind of, being nice to them and all this. That was a nice thing. Like the second episode was largely just them taking the trip. It's like, that was a very interesting episode too. I just like this a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things. My biggest worry, and I hope they don't go this way, but like through the third episode, they're putting a lot on the table with a lot of questions, and nothing been really answered yet.
Right.
Not unusual and not a bad thing to do per se, but I have seen a few stories where they just don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
Or just more and more questions and never get anything satisfying, never tie anything in. But, we're only 3 episodes in.
Yeah. Another thing I was kind of like, the doctor. It's kind of weird. He some of the stuff he said was like,
yeah, he's hard to place.
It's like some of the stuff he said is like, what was it? He was like, he's basically, the androids don't deserve freedom because you're just as bad as humans. Like,
it's a weird take, but unfortunately not unheard of.
Yeah, it's like, you're just as bad at this, so you don't deserve what we have. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
He feels like he's some guy who just kind of defeated by something.
Yeah, he has defeated. That mannerism, and
he's seen some stuff.
He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Almost like maybe he was a supporter and then got bit or something.
Burned out or something.
Yeah, something happened and whatnot.
Years and years of even simply years and years of trying and just nothing happened.
Or was all gung-ho and then like lost his family because of it or something, and that was just barely hanging on. Yeah, there's a bunch of tropes that can explain that one, but...
Yeah, the studio for the previous one, the Wedding Rings, is Staple Entertainment.
Oh, right. Who've
only done a handful of things, apparently. Oh, am I actually the strongest? No, some isekai thing. And Vermeil and Gold, I don't know what that is, but it looks like some sort of harem thing or something because the guy's surrounded by girls. Girls are all taller than him, too. What the heck?
That's not a bad thing.
I know, but just funny. Just like, oh. Yeah, so, and yeah, Bones did this one, Bones is...
Bones.
Bones, They've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
They're also currently doing My Hero Academia, for one thing.
Yeah, My Hero Academia,
Mob Psycho,
Stray Dogs.
My Psycho, Skate to Infinity. Skate the Infinite, I think.
Skate the Infinite, yeah. Mob Psycho.
Carol and Tuesday.
Yeah, Bones needs no introduction.
That's just recently.
Yeah.
Because I just keep scrolling. Look, more keeps showing up.
Yep.
Just more keeps showing up. Oh, wow, Space Dandy. That's been on my list forever. I still haven't watched it. Yeah, they've done a ton of stuff. So it's like, yeah, you're not exactly. It's like, yeah, you've probably watched something that was done by Studio Bones at some point if you're into anime.
Yep.
Yeah, of the 4 we watched, this is the actually good one. Like, no reservations.
They did one of the things in Halo Legends.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I remember now.
Yeah, they did one of those.
I forgot about that. Yeah, they did one of those. I totally spaced on that. It's really... I personally feel it's really good, and there's a lot of interesting things, and hopefully it goes to some amazing places. Because it has a lot... I think there's a lot... And not only is that the first 3 episodes, have been fun, there's also a lot of potential for a lot of great stuff to happen down the line. So hopefully, it's good and doesn't fizzle out or something, or... pull a Wonder Egg.
Oh God, I hope it doesn't pull a Wonder Egg. That's my thing. It's like this has got. I feel it has a lot of potential. The visuals look great, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I'm enjoying it. I'm just hoping it doesn't fizzle. because what they have so far is pretty good that they're building on. But it needs to reach a satisfying conclusion before I can really say yes.
This isn't also this is not an adaptation. This is an original.
Yeah,
and it's getting a manga adaptation based off of it. But yeah, it's of the 4. I believe it's the only one that's an original, not a based on anything. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. That's it.
Yep, I think that's it.
3 fantasy anime, 2 of which are just one is terrible, one is mediocre, one is surprisingly kind of good, but it's also the horny one.
It's also the horny one.
And one really good cyberpunk anime.
Yep.
That's it for this one.
That's all I got to say.
If you did enjoy this, you could check out other episodes new to weeaboo.libsyn.com, spelled LABSYN. If you want to keep, subscribe to the RSS feed there, or click any of some of the buttons at the top, for Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and there's also the Amazon podcast version. You can search for us on any of those as well. Subscribe, just search for New to Weeaboo and all that stuff if you want to keep up to date and all that. Or just check out the old episodes if you're just kind of, finding out about us. You can also contact us via email, newtoweeaboo@gmail.com. If you have questions or comments or criticism or anime recommendations, what have you, for all that stuff. And also, you could also go to newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com/contact, and all our social media is on there, so you can follow us. And of course, you can follow our personal stuff. It will be pretty close to that thing. It won't be hard to find from the new to Weeaboo accounts. So that's it for this episode. Join us next time. We'll be talking about Suzume.
Hey,
the movie from the person who made the other movie that you really like,
Makoto Shinkai.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, also did Weathering with You, which wasn't. I don't think that one was as good, but it was still pretty good.
So we shall see if that's it. That's the one with the chair.
It's the one with the. I think it's a little bit more than that, but yes, it's got the chair.
Girl falls in love with chair or something. I don't know.
Something
I don't
like
know.
that.
I don't know.
There's also doors. So
doors
and chairs.
Hope you have a good February. All that stuff. Follow our advice seriously when it comes to these 4 anime. I'm not kidding.
Or don't. I'm not your mom.
Yeah, if you don't want to, that's I guess you can waste your time if you want. Have a good time. Keep safe, all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.